Hey yo, this is Double MHD, number one energy, full of watts. You're watching Boom Shots. You're locked on to the hottest of hots. Hey! Ha!
Watch out, Boom Shot. You tell him say there's a make the way to murmur now. So this one is sure shot. It can't stop. Boom Shot!
Boom Shots.
Michigan slippers. They should use them in India?
Yes.
Only in India. I mean, were you born in?
No. Actually, my dad is from Fiji, so I'm only half from India.
But that would be some Indian, behavior right there. They would make anything out of anything. I'm telling you, you know what I took home from India? I took home flipping paper bags made out of newspapers.
They sold it to you.
These dudes said they're not using paper. They're just gonna take the newspapers and make bags, and they and they put some twine through it, and it's such beautiful craft, and it's like that. It's like well done. Like I could sell those.
You could sell.
To mop the floor.
To mop the floor.
Call it the dance mop. Wiggy wiggy, and do some James Brown. Get in the corners, and when you're gonna. That's how you dry them off.
That's how you dry them off. That's a new song for you right there.
Let's make some money.
Come.
Dance mop. Mop the floor. Mop the floor. That's my chain.
That's the chain.
Mop the floor. That's it right there. Mop the floor. Mop the floor.
New making right now. Right
here you go. In the making. Machel.
Yo, switch on the audio. Audio running?
Audio has been running.
Wicked.
So good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
You know, when I was traipsing through the rain, I knew it was going to be worth it. And it's so good to see you in New York. I mean, you come to New York so often because actually, who doesn't know who you are? Should I say it like that?
I mean, New York is not just a place I come to. New York is a place that is very significant in my career. I live here for a couple of years, but I've lived all over the world. Like I spent time in, London a little bit. I spent time in Sweden. And I can say live even if I've been there for like 3, 4, 5 months, but I've lived there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've lived all over. Mostly Trinidad. I lived in Jamaica. I went to school for the first time in Jamaica.
Are you serious?
First time I ever went to school, 3, 4 years old.
Whereabouts?
Mona Prep. Kindergarten. I was I played one of the wise men in the Christmas play, and I still have pictures today. So people don't know. I went back to Trinidad talking Jamaican, and them a laugh after me. Mommy, them a laugh after me. And it take a couple of months to get out to that, but that was an important part for me because then I felt this connection, and when I was having my problems with soca and calypso and trying to find myself, it was easy for me to think, but let me mix it with some dancehall. Let me mix it with some reggae, some Garnet Silk or some Buju Banton or something like that, And then, when we grew into ourselves and we didn't have to blend the music and we had our own sound, we developed that in 1997 on Flatbush Avenue. Actually on Utica Avenue in St. John. Utica and St. John's Place by the precinct. I used to own 2 apartments. I had just come back from being signed to Delicious Vinyl.
You own 2 apartments.
Well,
I mean, let's just
say I was renting, but I had a good deal. And we had the band stay upstairs and we had the studio downstairs.
Yeah.
So we would work and we would stay there, and most of our shows will be in Brooklyn. Brooklyn was really one of the places that made Machel Montano the superstar he is. Not just Trinidad, not just the Caribbean, but Brooklyn in particular. I remember the years with the backyard parties and the Carnival Cities. Actually, there was a place on Church named Carnival City, and it was owned by this guy named Moses London. He is now Theophilus London's father.
Oh wow!
You know what I'm saying? And I see him all the time in Tobago, and he's like, "Yeah, my son is singing now," and and I really remember those days in Brooklyn, how important it was. The Itchy Baba days and the different crews. So they kind of saw Machel and they gave me that chance. And I brought in the band, and then we had fan base, and we stayed here for summers, and we had some of the hugest shows. Floyd Bennett Field. So it's an important place to me. When I come here, there are a lot of memories. There's a lot of up keep of integrity, because this is like feeding your heart. This is like feeding your watering hole that's gonna water all your land. Brooklyn hasn't seen me in a while. I kind of in the last 2 years kind of ease up on it.
Why?
Just because I think you have to follow where the music is,
Okay.
and a lot of the growing up in New York has happened. There were a lot of young artists trying to make it, and trying to come to Trinidad and dreaming about it. One of the perfect examples will be somebody like Lyrical, who is now one of the top acts from New York, but he's a Trini from New York, but he represented New York acts, and it took them a while to get legitimate, to be recognized, to be accepted. So I think now a lot of the attention is focused on getting big in Trinidad, getting big in Europe, getting places where the cycle is flowing. I think for New York right now there's a resurgence of Brooklyn itself, a new life, the Barclays Center. I think we also, as a soca industry, we have suffered some blows in terms of proper venues. As a Caribbean people, I think we have, not done a good job of having a body that speaks for us. And when I say speaks for who we are, why we practice the rituals the way we do, why we parade in the streets, why we like to party outdoors, why we want to jump. We don't want to be in a basement, like a after party.
You want to be out there
You want to
on
be
the
out
street.
there. Yeah. So I think all those factors, it makes New York a tricky place. So I never want to come to New York and not come proper. And I came to the float boat ride because it was something different. SOBs was involved, so Larry Cole and all these people are like family to me. That was part of my coming up too, and to do something working with him as SOBs doing something new. These are the things I like. Now you're talking Machel Montano language. On the left you have tradition, on the right you have technology, and you put the truth in the middle. Done deal.
And just on the subject of being in the US, I mean, maybe not so in New York, but I was recently in Miami at the EDM Fest Ultra, and I was talking to Trinidad James. He tells me he's already done something with you.
He told you he let the bag out the arm, he let the cat out the bag.
Basically, the cat was wild.
Yeah, we've been working on one. I like to fondly call it Atlanta Trinidad, because Trinidad James is really Atlanta Trinidad. A lot of people will criticize his music and try to figure it out, but I think he's somebody who you have to figure out. You have to really understand the warmth of this person, and he probably kind of is similar to Trinidad, because Trinidad is a place it takes people a while to figure us out.
Yeah.
How we don't sleep, how we party like that, how we understand what this music is doing, how we can keep up, and I think his art is growing. So we did something together, and I would always support anything from Trinidad that I think has the potential to do what we need to do.
So what did you do? I mean, the song is presumably not out because I haven't heard it. I've heard him talking about it. Now hearing you talk about it, I don't know whether you can give us a little snippet or something.
I wouldn't be at liberty to give a snippet, but let's just say that there's some soca in there, and we all trying our best to see how we could put that hip hop and soca together and marry it well.
But
and, we're taking the risk.
Will it come out?
Atlanta, Trinidad.
Will it come out? Whose label will it be? Will it be your track or will it be his track?
It's definitely his track, what I mean? He gave us creative, control to kind of give him some ideas, show him what he wanted. He's a guy who he listens, he sits back and listens first.
Yeah.
And then I must believe that he must have his vision, but it remind me of myself, I always knew what I wanted, but I would always love to see who's out there and who could bring something to the table. Because if you're brave enough to step to me and say, hey, try this, I'm down. I live in that world. Step off of the ledge and hope for the best.